An unusual occurrence is taking place at this very moment. As you're viewing this content, a portion of your neural network is determining whether to continue focusing or shift towards something less demanding. This evaluation occurs countless times throughout each day, and it's silently eroding your capacity to accomplish anything significant. But suppose I revealed to you that the identical neurological process causing you to evade challenging tasks can be reversed to make you desire them. Suppose self-discipline could generate the same satisfaction as mindless browsing. This isn't inspirational rhetoric. This is brain science. And through comprehending how your neural system genuinely operates, you'll uncover why determination has been disappointing you and what actions you must take alternatively. Your neural network functions on a straightforward efficiency model. It's perpetually posing one inquiry: what yields the optimal return on expended energy? Every potential action you contemplate receives immediate assessment. Substantial effort with questionable outcomes. Your brain applies resistance. Minimal effort with assured gratification. Proceed immediately. This isn't a personality defect. This represents survival coding from an era when preserving energy determined whether you lived or perished. The challenge is your prehistoric brain currently exists in a contemporary environment engineered to manipulate it. Every application, every processed snack, every fragment of digital material has been constructed by groups of researchers to activate the precise neural circuits that generate positive feelings with absolutely no exertion. Your brain isn't malfunctioning, it's being exploited. Let's examine what's genuinely occurring inside your skull when you cannot initiate that assignment or force yourself to the fitness center. There exists a minuscule collection of neurons designated the nucleus accumbens. Envision it as your brain's drive generator. It operates on a brain chemical called dopamine. However, dopamine doesn't function the method most individuals assume. It's not the enjoyment molecule, it's the desire molecule. Dopamine surges when you expect a benefit, not when you obtain it. That's the reason browsing feels so irresistible. Every gesture might expose something fascinating, so your brain saturates you with dopamine to maintain your searching behavior. But here's where circumstances become concerning. When you obtain excessive convenient dopamine surges, your brain modifies. It's designated downregulation. Your dopamine receptors genuinely diminish in quantity, comparable to your brain reducing the intensity on fulfillment. Now you require additional stimulation to experience the identical degree of engagement. A publication that previously fascinated you feels tedious. A physical training session that previously invigorated you feels unachievable. You're not forfeiting self-discipline, you're encountering a tolerance phenomenon, precisely like with any additional substance. This explains why individuals who invest hours on digital platforms frequently experience the greatest lack of drive. Their brains have been conditioned to anticipate perpetual, effortless benefits. Anything demanding prolonged concentration feels like suffering in contrast. The exertion to benefit proportion is completely imbalanced. Your brain has been reconfigured to hunger for immediate satisfaction, and genuine accomplishment cannot rival that. However, the magnificent aspect regarding neural adaptability is that what can be damaged can equally be restored. Your brain is perpetually reconstructing itself based on your behaviors. Every selection you execute is either fortifying neural connections for self-discipline or strengthening connections for diversion. The inquiry isn't whether your brain will transform, it's which trajectory you're directing it toward. So, what precisely constitutes a dopamine reset, and what's the mechanism behind its effectiveness? Despite what the terminology implies, you're not genuinely purging dopamine itself. You're eliminating the synthetic hyperactivating origins of it. Envision your dopamine mechanism like a brightness control that's been maximized to full intensity for such an extended duration that standard illumination resembles complete darkness. A dopamine reset involves reducing that control so your brain can recalibrate what standard feels like. When you eliminate the excessive origins of convenient satisfaction, something extraordinary occurs. Your dopamine receptors commence upregulating. They develop increased sensitivity. Abruptly, Pursuits that appeared uninteresting previously begin feeling captivating. The fulfillment of finalizing a responsibility, the vitality following a physical workout, the tranquility following concentrated effort. These organic benefits begin registering once more. You're not transforming into someone different. You're reverting to equilibrium. You're recollecting what it feels like to be motivated by internal fulfillment rather than external activation. The majority of individuals fail at this because they pursue it incorrectly. They attempt to force through it, depending on determination exclusively. However, determination is a limited resource, and it's no competition for a dopamine-deprived brain demanding stimulation. Alternatively, you must comprehend the adjustment interval. For the initial several days, you're going to experience agitation, frustration, potentially even worry. This is not frailty, this is detoxification. Your brain has adjusted to a particular intensity of stimulation, and presently you're withdrawing it. The uneasiness you experience is genuinely an indication that the procedure is functioning. Your brain is being compelled to recalibrate. The essential element is recognizing that this stage is transient. The majority of individuals surrender precisely before the advancement because they construe the uneasiness as an indication they're executing something incorrect. However, that agitation is your brain restructuring itself. Persist through it. Here's what you must execute in practical terms. Begin by recognizing your most elevated dopamine pursuits, not the activities you appreciate most, but the activities that demand the minimal exertion for the maximum activation. For the majority of individuals, this is their mobile device, particularly digital platforms, brief format video material, or digital games. However, it could equally be processed foods, internet purchasing, or explicit material. Whatever provides you intense satisfaction with negligible exertion, that's your objective. Now, here's the essential component. You don't need to remove these permanently. You simply need to remove them temporarily while your brain recalibrates. Select a time frame. 3 days is a threshold. 7 is superior. 14 is revolutionary. Throughout this interval, you're generating synthetic shortage for convenient dopamine, which compels your brain to discover fulfillment in more demanding pursuits. However, you cannot simply eliminate activities. You must substitute them. Nature detests emptiness, and so does your brain. When you withdraw convenient dopamine origins, you must intentionally participate in pursuits that deliver slower, more enduring benefits. Examine a physical publication instead of browsing. Prepare a meal instead of requesting delivery. Proceed for a stroll without audio devices instead of viewing another video. Physical training without music or audio programs. Document by manual writing. Engage in a genuine discussion. These pursuits feel uninteresting initially because your dopamine mechanism is still calibrated to elevated intensity. However, here's the transformation. As you continue, your brain commences releasing dopamine in expectation of these pursuits, equally. Following several days of examining, your brain discovers that accessing a publication leads to the fulfillment of acquiring something novel. Following a week of physical training sessions, your brain commences desiring the chemical surge and perception of achievement. You're genuinely reconditioning your benefit mechanism. There's a vital differentiation here between satisfaction and fulfillment. Satisfaction is instantaneous and temporary. It originates from external activation and demands no exertion. Fulfillment is postponed and enduring. It originates from internal achievement and demands exertion. Contemporary existence inundates us with satisfaction, but abandons us depleted of fulfillment. That's the reason you can invest in complete day, feeling diverted and still retire to sleep, feeling unsatisfied. Your brain obtained satisfaction, but no fulfillment. A dopamine reset transitions your concentration from pursuing satisfaction to constructing fulfillment. And here's what nobody communicates to you. Fulfillment genuinely generates more dopamine across time than satisfaction does. When you achieve something challenging, when you advance through opposition and emerge on the opposite aspect, your brain releases a combination of neurochemicals, incorporating dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. This is the sensation athletes designate a runner's euphoria. It's what innovators experience following hours of concentrated effort. It's the profound satisfaction that originates from self-discipline, and it's substantially more influential and enduring than any alert could ever be. The brain science validates this. Investigations demonstrate that postponed satisfaction stimulates the prefrontal cortex, the segment of your brain accountable for strategizing, judgment-making, and self-regulation. The more you rehearse postponing satisfaction, the more robust these neural connections develop. Meanwhile, instantaneous satisfaction stimulates more fundamental segments of your brain, the limbic mechanism, which functions on impulse and sentiment. Every occasion you select self-discipline over diversion, you're genuinely fortifying the sophisticated segments of your brain and diminishing the fundamental segments. You're enhancing your processing system. Across time, this modifies your standard configuration. Self-discipline ceases feeling like a conflict against yourself and commences feeling like your organic condition. This is what individuals intend when they declare self-discipline transforms into a routine. It's not that it transforms convenient, it's that your brain reconstructs to favor it. Let me communicate to you what transpires following a genuine reset. You'll observe your concentration duration expanding. Activities that previously fatigued you within moments will maintain your attention for an hour. You'll experience a precision of cognition that's been absent. Concepts will arrive more effortlessly. You'll execute judgments more rapidly because you're not perpetually pursuing confirmation through your mobile device. You'll possess more vitality because you're not experiencing a fluctuation of dopamine surges and declines. Most surprisingly, you'll commence experiencing genuine enthusiasm about activities that previously felt like obligations. That assignment you've been evading, you'll genuinely desire to engage with it. That fitness center session, you'll anticipate it. This isn't artificial optimism or counterfeit inspiration. This is your brain operating the method it was constructed to before it got commandeered by computational systems. However, here's the aspect that individuals don't desire to acknowledge. This isn't a singular remedy. Your brain will perpetually attempt to gravitate back toward convenient benefits. That's not a defect, that's an attribute. The essential element is constructing mechanisms that make self-discipline the trajectory of minimal opposition. This is where surroundings engineering becomes vital. If your mobile device is adjacent to your sleeping area, you'll examine it initial thing in the morning. If nutritious food is arranged and accessible, you'll consume it. If your physical training attire is positioned, you'll exercise. You cannot depend on determination when your surroundings is undermining you. Engineer your existence so that the dopamine-abundant pursuits demand exertion to access, and the fulfillment-abundant pursuits are effortless to initiate. Eliminate digital platform applications from your mobile device. Utilize website restrictions. Position your mobile device in a separate room when you operate. Make processed food inconvenient and nutritious food convenient. Every obstacle you position between yourself and diversion is a contribution for the individual you're attempting to transform into. There's equally a communal element to this that's frequently disregarded. The individuals surrounding you are perpetually influencing your dopamine foundation. If everyone in your existence is browsing, consuming, and pursuing instantaneous satisfaction, you'll be attracted in that trajectory. However, if you encompass yourself with individuals who appreciate concentration, self-discipline, and profound effort, their routines become transmissible. This doesn't signify deserting your companions. It signifies being purposeful about who you invest your duration with and what pursuits you execute together. Pursue communities that strengthen the behaviors you desire to cultivate. Discover responsibility associates who are on the identical expedition. Your brain is configured not simply by what you execute, but by who you're with. Now, let's confront the conspicuous issue. Some of you are contemplating, "This sounds dreadful. Why would I desire to make existence more challenging?" And that's the deception. You're contemplating it from the viewpoint of someone whose brain is already commandeered. From your present condition, self-discipline does appear more challenging than diversion. However, From the opposite aspect, from the viewpoint of someone with a recalibrated brain, self-discipline feels less challenging than diversion. Because diversion abandons you feeling depleted, worried, and lagging. Self-discipline abandons you feeling achieved, assured, and in command. Which is genuinely more challenging? Investing your days pursuing dopamine surges that never fulfill you, or constructing an existence where exertion itself transforms rewarding? The trajectory of minimal opposition in the brief duration is genuinely the trajectory of maximum opposition in the extended duration. This is about recovering authority over your individual consciousness. Presently, if you're honest, you're not genuinely in command. Your mobile device commands when you experience tedium. Computational systems command what you contemplate about. Applications command how you invest your duration. That's not liberty. That's commandeering. Genuine liberty is possessing a brain that operates for you, not against you. It's being capable to select challenging activities and genuinely appreciate executing them. It's awakening enthusiastic about your effort instead of fearing it. It's retiring fulfilled instead of remorseful. That's what's on the opposite aspect of this procedure. Not flawlessness, not convenience, but coordination. Your behaviors finally corresponding your purposes. Your daily selections finally advancing you toward your objectives instead of distancing from them. The reconstruction procedure never genuinely concludes because you're perpetually either strengthening self-discipline or strengthening diversion. Every instant is a selection. However, following you've recalibrated your dopamine mechanism, the selections transform less challenging. The attraction toward diversion diminishes. The attraction toward significant effort intensifies. You cultivate what mental health researchers designate inherent drive. You execute activities because they're fulfilling in themselves, not because you're pursuing an external benefit. This is the supreme form of self-discipline. It's not compelled, it's not forced, it's organic, it's who you are. So, here's what I desire you to execute. Don't simply view this video in advance. That's what the previous version of you would execute. Alternatively, make one concrete judgment presently. What's the singular most elevated origin of hollow dopamine in your existence? Recognize it. Then dedicate to eliminating it for the subsequent 7 days. Not permanently, simply 7 days. Observe what transpires. Observe the agitation. Observe when it maximizes. Observe when it commences to diminish. Observe what occupies the vacancy. Observe how your relationship with exertion commences to transition. Record the procedure, because once you observe it occurring in actual time, once you experience your brain reconstructing itself, you'll never desire to revert. You'll comprehend that you weren't intended to exist as a servant to computational systems and impulses. You were intended to be someone who executes challenging activities and appreciates executing them. That version of you is anticipating, and the trajectory to transforming into them initiates with a singular selection to allow your brain to respire, to withdraw from the disturbance, and to trust that on the opposite aspect of transient uneasiness is permanent transformation. Your brain is prepared to be reconstructed. The exclusive inquiry is, are you prepared to execute it? Please hit the like and subscribe for more.